Hi guys, it's Nurse Mike back to check the pulse on chess again. Don't mind me and my blanket. I've had a raccoon in my attic digging around in my insulation, so I'm kind of cold. And I've also had a bit of a bad day for puzzles, probably dropped at around 500 points. So let me know in the comments if you guys would want to see me do a series climbing the puzzle ladder. But in the meantime, we're analyzing a game. This one is going to be a rating range of 1,000 to 1,200. As you can see, it's a 15-minute game. We got our screen a little bit better set up this time, and it looks to be a pretty good game. Decisive ending. Let's see how this plays out. Okay, e4, e5. Typical kind of play style from this level. Okay, so this is can easily transform into an Italian. Yes, it does. So target is right here. You could potentially, if you saw a knight, you could see a fried liver. So the idea is this, and then, oh no, this is under attack, and you are not going to defend it like this because you will still lose the queen, even if you go for it. So, I mean, a lot of times you'll see people still try and do that and just sort of move pieces out of the way so that you can't fork queen and rook. But then you're still just going to end up with a free pawn. So something to keep in mind. Common tactic in the Italian game called the fried liver attack. Okay, but we have instead an invitation to trade light squared bishops. So, I mean, this presents a problem. You trade this, you're both weaker on the light squared complex. I mean, the benefit is that they're going to have a pawn here, but you got to calculate that this, say you do a lazy move, this, you've just given black the entire center, right? So sometimes this destruction is not really going to be that bad. Plus, once that's out of the way, and if they castle short, their rook will have a long open line for through your F file. So something to calculate. I mean, it is a very kind of common to see one side at this level just try and pull something aggressive, and the other side to just offer a trade piece. Because if you don't have those pieces, you can't attack. Makes for a boring game, so I'm going to just suggest that either don't trade or try and trade in an interesting way. So, for example, you could take your queen out so that this happens, right? Now they have the same problem, they can't force a trade. You could also look at retreating the bishop, so now it's the ball's in their court, they can trade, and now you have the open line for your rook, you castle short, so I don't know if they do this, you castle short, and then you start trying to move an attack over down this side of the board somehow. You have lots of pawns, figure out a way to do it. So instead, okay, we have kind of the ideas. I think this is someone who's seen a little bit of content. They're sort of a little bit familiar with openings. They are trying to go with a Gioco piano. Okay, interesting move by black. I like that they're not just jumping into these trades. Oftentimes that happens in a boring game. So you see a move like this, you assume that they are, like, the only square they're going to potentially go to is here, because obviously everything else is closed. I mean, maybe in higher level chess you might see a reroute coming to like do this, but that's, why would you do that when you could just, do that? So probably they're going to come here. Their target is going to be here or here. Is there any risk? Not really, to be totally honest. I think you could see the bishop come here to try and pin the knight against the queen, but I mean, what's that going to do? Maybe break your structure, give you an open line for your rook. See, that's the thing, is these trades are not always bad. They make your rooks useful, because rooks are basically useless until there's an open file, basically until late in the game. So if they give that to you, sometimes it's like, you can say thank you for it, because now all of a sudden the rook would be here. That bishop is never going to be able to get out because it's going to have to defend that pawn. They won't be able to castle, not easily anyway. They'll have to push things, create weaknesses. You'll send in a bishop. Like, it's just bad news. So, anyway, okay. Interesting. I'm surprised that they didn't have this and this to open a line towards the king so that you can but I think black is going down, put their blinders on, and they're saying, okay, what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to defend my pawns, get my pieces out, and castle, right? And I mean, yes, but like, why are you putting these pieces where they are? Like, I don't know, play something spicy. Make it fun. Do this. See what the hell is going to happen. You didn't hear me say that word. I didn't say that word. So, basically, what do we got? Yeah, then you could, I mean, you could be looking at something like this, right? And now you're starting an attack this way, right? You could potentially, like, I don't know. Again, let's say lazy move. Your next plans could be getting this out. Actually, a better spot would probably be here, with the intention of pushing this pawn forward, pushing that knight in, and long-term targets just down that way, right? You could even consider bringing the knight in, castle long, bring a rook down the middle. Like, there's so many good options. So rather than playing just passively, trying to get your castle, it's all good things. Like, you're playing for safety. Yeah, there you go. But it's predictable. So me for white, I'd be seeing all this, be like, okay, we all know what's going to be coming. Maybe I'll start just trying to, like, I don't know, do this, push some of this. It's a boring game right now. Right now, it's boring because it's very Italian. It's one of the reasons I don't play the Italian anymore. So I just get very bored in it because everything's symmetrical. People are just doing their own thing. Nobody's attacking anyone. Like, give me some regularity. Throw some spice. Like, just take out the red pepper and dump it on, right? Don't be bland. Don't act like, you know, you're on weed or something and just, like, do nothing. Act like you're, like, on some real drugs, like some the good drugs, the stuff that it would take a nurse like me to give you, and, like, take some chances, take some risks, because that's what, you know, when you don't feel pain and you're a little high, maybe you want to do that. Okay, I'm not saying do drugs. Definitely don't do drugs unless a nurse gives them to you, because then you can do drugs. But that's the only time. Okay. So yeah, this is a good move by black. They're recognizing that this is a kind of a weak square, so they can reposition a knight in there eventually, possibly over here as well, and just maybe playing it there forever. Now, of course, the problem is that white has a lot of control over that, so they're well positioned to defend it. But in the long run, I mean, you could maybe make a case for getting there, especially if you can bring the knight in and just deal with the bishop directly, right? Like, boop, boop, this is going to come here. Oh, that's going to be a problem because it's going to stop that. So can't do that. Maybe they want to do a push like this then. Right now, this would be a bad move. So if you lost that pawn break, white is going to put something right there in the middle, and you're going to have not a lot to deal with it. And this knight that you put out there, like, is stranded, black. Like, that's kind of the problem with when you got so fixated. Whoops, sorry, text bar came up. When you get so fixated on castling that you're just going to put your pieces out and not give them a long-term plan, they're just going to be stuck there, and it's like you're down that piece, right? And this is an interesting move. So white wants to trade, boop, 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 and come up a pawn. I mean, it's almost tempting to just make that trade anyway, just to make the open line on the king. But there's too much defense then for an immediate attack, of course. Something to certainly keep your eye on. Okay, so interesting move by black. I don't hate it because they're saying, okay, take my knight. So we're saying this, 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 and then they have this at the end of it with tempo on the rook. Tempo meaning that they are basically going to force you to move, right? You don't have this because this is going to be defended by the queen. If the queen was somewhere else, like say over here, maybe you would have that, right? Actually, if the bishop were somewhere else, it'd be even better for you because you could just swing in, threaten mate. They'd have to sacrifice their queen to not get mated. But don't have that. So we have... Sorry, we're down my line here. Okay. So, okay. Not a bad move. I mean, it can be kicked out pretty quickly. And then where's this knight going to go? It's not going here. Maybe they want to go here, but why didn't you just go there in the first place? So again, it's a short-term thinking, right? Like, with this, then this has to come back here. And the difference between that and the previous position is that, again, here it is black's move. Wait, did that actually happen? That's what actually happened? Okay, I was gonna say, but here it's white's move, so you're giving up tempo, but tempo is a big deal. You gotta watch that stuff. You gotta hang on to it, like... Anyway, okay, so we do have that, which maybe there's something interesting here that I'm not seeing. So what are they calculating? it's kind of a cool idea. To have two attacks, to ignore attack on a piece, to make an attack on another piece means that they think that they have a really brilliant idea, which is great. Let's see what it is, because they're thinking, okay, they take, then you take, opening a line on the queen and threatening the knight, but then what if this queen takes, then rook takes, man, I'm messing up the color of all my arrows, and then this knight can just hippity hop away to, say, I don't know, here. Reroute back around this way and deal with some of these pawns. Or just take the free pawn. Okay, okay. Take, take, take. Interesting. So white says, deal with the threat on the knight and leave my queen well protected. Not a bad move. You're also blockading this pawn, so white is playing this like quite well. Okay, so black recovers the one pawn, but they sacrifice a rook for this line, and I'm not seeing the point in it. So they're down 3 points now. No, 2 points. Sorry, my mistake. And yeah, their attack has more or less petered out, which is kind of a sign that, yeah, shouldn't have sacrificed. And that's, maybe it was a problem of calculation, but that's something you always have to do, is you always have to follow the line through. You're going to sacrifice a piece. Okay, what can they do? What are all of their possible moves? Can I get away with it? Even if here, for example, say they had taken their knight there. Say they had this, right? What was the game plan from here, right? Like, I don't know, you don't have much after that. Like, you're gonna, like, do this and reroute to here. Try and make the pawn cube. I mean, you'd be pretty sweet if you got the pawn cube. Okay, anyway, let's see. We got... Okay, black is trying to make an attack. Trades a piece. Always a good idea. So when you're down, when you're up material, just trade down. I mean, who cares bishop for knight? Knights are typically worse than bishops, but you're up a piece. Piece for pawn anyway. Also, this pawn has just been hanging. And that pawn. This is a blunder though, because of this. Right? No, not because of that, because you are leaving yourself open to check. So, yeah, that's a problem. How could you solve that problem? Well, you can move the king, but then you're just gonna be open to another check. It's gonna be too slow. Yeah, so what I'm thinking about is this move, right? And that sequence again is not great for black, but let's see. Oh, they did it. Oh. Yep, this is what happened. This is exactly what happened. So this is what I mean. You got to make those calculations, right? See, you think like, oh, great, I'm pinning knight into knight. But always think, do they have a check? Do they have a check? Can they threaten another piece of equal or higher value? If they can do that, then your tactic is failing. Okay, so we have this for this. Okay, yeah. I don't know how I feel about that move for white. The reason being is when you're that deep in your territory all alone, like the thing I'm looking at is I'm like, okay, all the squares a knight could possibly run to. So blocked, 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 right? Which makes this a very vulnerable knight. It has no moves. So you could potentially, like, let's just sample, say, okay, if this were me, I'd probably try and do something, maybe like this. They're going to try and defend. I'll try and do this. They're going to be like, oh no. And then I just do this. And I've won the knight, right? Like, where's it going to go? No, they could actually, there's a tactic here where they could do this, right? And still have the threat. But those are the sort of thought processes. And you got to think of it all the way through like that. Can they make those threats? Okay. So black in moving over, maybe they saw that in white's position there was a hole. Sorry, that the knight was trapped, but then they gave it up. By moving the rook to threaten the knight, they made a basically a tactical error. I still think, maybe this could have worked. Let's see. Then they move here. This pawn controls all movement, and then you just do something like this, and capture. That maybe could have worked. Okay. So we have, yeah, just trying to scare the knight away. Oh, sad blunder. Oh, he doesn't take it. Oh, my heart. It's racing. Give me tachycardia. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, you're threatening the knight, which is protected, to scare it off into taking your into taking your bishop. Okay. Okay. It's fine. We're fine. It's fine. Black's not on drugs. No drugs. Maybe weed. Thinking there's weed. Alright. This pawn is still looking real sad. It's been just like undefended for a long friggin' time, man. Like, okay, so black is obviously, you put it behind a pawn, and you're not doing that because you want to stand here. You're doing that because you want to push the pawn, make a trade, and then that's really not that bad for. See, and this is a bad idea because now the knight is just gonna type. So if you push this, both of these are hanging. Okay, threaten the knight first. Okay. Okay. So white is trying to threaten some sort of mate here. I don't see it yet. Just take it. Just take it and just win all the pawns. So just do this. Okay? Like, and then this king is kind of stuck. Maybe they try and, I don't know, they could basically do this and you could just take everything and win. But okay, what do we have here? Check. Okay, dancing. They're trying to figure out how to mate here. With this rook here, there basically isn't one. You'd have to get the king to move over and then drop down. But fat chance. I mean, you could try doing this, then that, but it's only if they fall for that. And of course, oh, my heart, back rank mate. Oh my goodness, there's 12 minutes on the clock still. They played this whole game in 2.5 minutes? Oh, use your time, think, like black. How long, okay, I gotta figure this out. How long did you spend on the knight sacrifice? Where did that happen? Okay, right here. What's their time? 14:17 to 14:33. 14:33 being black. So they've spent 20 seconds. It's plus 0, by the way. Eight seconds. 8 seconds you spent on this move. 8 seconds. Ugh. You know the sad thing too? What about that move? Fork the knight and the bishop. Then you got this bishop coming in. Pinning to the queen. Oof. Okay, yeah. So, a couple of notes. Black. I'm glad for you winning that like spectacular fashion. Don't put those blinders on. Get like off of that, and also get off drugs. Get off drugs. Take some time, think about your moves, make some long-term plans for your pieces. Yeah. See a square like that, try and figure out a way to exploit it. I mean, maybe this would have been better first and then exploit. Yeah. Spend more time, just think about it. And if you're gonna make a sacrifice like this, be real sure that it's gonna work out in your favor. Like, I like that you tried to spice it up though. Good stuff. White, just solid playing. Like, all this is good. This is an option, of course. That's a fine move. I mean, this was a good execution, good escape. I mean, you notice you're attacking this knight, but you're still attacking it, and also this pawn's been hanging for ages, so watch things like that. You gotta look around the board a little bit more. Don't be afraid to just trade. And maybe learn your mating patterns, because you should be able to see a position like this and just know whether you have a checkmate, which you do not. Right? Like, great, you're grabbing pawns, but in the end, you just got so fixated on it that, yeah, that hung. I mean, it was a really fun game to watch, so fantastic game. Lots to learn from. Hope you guys have a good night. I'm going to, of course, send this game to the 2 players who played it, and hopefully they pick up something useful from it. Have a great night, guys.